She's saying she's taking her time. Just hold on. She's saying, I feel compelled to tell you that there's a worth in everybody. There's a worth in everyone. There's a world awaiting within this world. So take the time to realize this. We sometimes get caught up in our regular lives. We look at our lives through a microscope. We like to analyze everything that we do. Sometimes we need to see what's fitting for us. Take the time to see through the reality that we live in. When we do this, we actually make that happen. You see, our spirit is ignited by the physical plane. Why would it be any other way? Sometimes when we do this, we start to challenge our courage. Because it takes courage to live in this world, as you know. The courage to face dilemmas. To live in fear takes courage. For this is a real natural emotion. The natural world's waiting for us to uplift it or uproot it or turn it around. It's here for us to be making it different. It's here for our making. There is no other way. Many animals in the forest and on the range are sentimental to her. She's saying her. They have feelings, they have their quests, and they have their requests as well. But they cannot do what we can do as human beings. We are here in partnership with the earth to help her understand who she is. You see, we're not here just to take from the earth, to supply ourselves with enough food and plenty enough of anything we need. For this is her gift as well. There is more to it than that. We can request anything we want from our partnership with the earth, but we understand that there is more to it than just fending for our needs. There is another level, there's another layer. As we go into prayer, we start to understand these realms. When we start to pray for the sick, do we not understand it then? Don't you see this is the way of the world? Compassion. Us as do-gooders here, we are doing these very things. I'm not so concerned about the planet as we live it, as we respect our lives, as we bless our food, as we give thanks to the glorious nature of things that we notice. But don't you see there is more work to be done? There's more than meets the eye. We've heard that cliche. There's more than we can present before us. There's more to art than is just a picture, the process that goes into it, the spiritual nature of our attunement. This is the setting here. This is the settings that I'm wishing to speak of tonight. The settings, the situations, the levels of understanding that we are here to picture things first and manifest them. As we picture something, as we visualize something to happen, we then can take the next step in the initiation to manifestation. So visualization is a stronger point of understanding than we maybe recognize. You see, from my point of view, I am understanding this very well. I can see right through thoughts. Thoughts are things is what we understand, as cliche as that might sound. This is the respectful nature and how we tune our lives day after day, month after month, year after year. There is no such thing as any other way. Visualizing something to happen is a constant. It goes without saying. We will no longer have any other way coming up in the next. In the next changes that are arriving. When we situate ourselves by the cross, we not understand all the suffering that happened, but do we now understand that visualizing my son on the cross was a part of understanding the passion of these things? For I understood by the cross, by his feet, when he was suffering, that there will no longer be a son of mine, for he will be taken to the sky, to God, and I will no longer be with him. But he will no longer have to be reckoned with, for this is the reason why they took my son. But when I visualized him on the cross, I said these things. I said, "Dear beloved, I am that I am with you, here and throughout the afterlife." And I visualized what would happen to him. For having that kind of bond that we had, we were so caught up in the love for one another that the safety that was required for our family was a necessary element of how we lived. So we visualized how the day would unfold. For many people, many things happened throughout the course of the day where people would shame him, take him down, blame him for why they weren't enough. So what is it that I'm trying to recognize here? I'm trying to explain that, first and foremost, that my son did nothing more than treaty work. He understood the science of how people felt to one another. He understood that compassion and forgiveness was the only way out of this so-called mess that we live in. We understand this as mess, for we're the ones who were stewarding the cleanup effort. There's nothing more that I can notice that through this world than to be the custodians. For this reason, we're going to come through for you. We're coming back this April. I am that I am, and I made this statement tonight with my boy here, Angelo. I am those statements that I am, and I am to be reckoned with. For where I am, there's nothing more than God around me. There's nothing more than the substance of love. We have compiled enough capability for this union that we are in, for the groups and masses of people who come together and pray to my statues, who have asked for my return, for my salvation with my son, that we shall then reappear. The stargate shall be opened. There will no longer be this visualization of hate, blame, shame, disaster. There will no longer be disaster relief funds that need to have happen so that we can then take over. Or one entity could be stronger, more powerful than the next. For these are the reasons for these cleanup acts, as you know. We do not need to point fingers. I do not need to go there at this stage of the game, for we just need to concentrate on what really matters here, and that's our heartfelt commitment to each other. With compassion, we shall turn things around. This is the statement of my motive. This was the statement of my son. Nothing more, nothing less. He shamed nobody as he walked through the streets, as he was spit on and harshly accused of being the king of Jews, being the troublemaker, the one to stir up all this anger. He said nothing more than, I am the steward of love, that I am that who I am. He changed the faces of many, many lives. And still to this day, as you recognize, is in tune with many of us without his presence on the planet. He was a gentle, loving speaker. He gave nothing more than that. He owned up to his responsibility as being a human being, to being a good Samaritan. Someone who was gifted like him, why would he have to then walk the streets and talk people into living in harmony? For why can't he just go home and pray with his mommy? This is what he was accused of being. I lament when I understand his story, and I'm not here to shame and blame those who disastered him anymore, for they were there for a purpose. They're here to symbolize the world we live in today, like a fractal repeating itself, like a never-ending story. So we are here today to convert us into the sacred feminine. Fouling up along the way, misdemeanor after misdemeanor, bad thought after another. As we do these things, we understand them, though. We're self-critical. Somehow, some way, though, we are attuned, and we find that gap anyway. The gap to find the release of our heart-mind into the society we live in. For this is the nature of the people that are sitting before me. I challenge the authorities. I don't think so. I make statements of I hate them. I don't think so either. For when I return, I will do nothing more than smile. I will do nothing more than share my compassion with the people just as I am today. I will be the normal me. I will be Mother Mary, the silent one. I will speak softly and say almost nothing. See, when you understand the reality that we live in, all this about the game changer, who will be the next great world leader, who will take the stand and be the staff on the podium, who will make the most communication, who will, let's say, deny the elite for what they've done. These are not world leaders of my stature. See, when I arrive, I treat everyone as equal. I will do nothing more than that. I will give my kudos to those who have been in my heart mind, for those who have prayed with me, for those who have been in compassion, for those who cared for the animals, who stewarded the hospitals, who were caretakers, who gave a hoot, who cleaned up the act. For they will find me to be very compelling in a very tasteful manner. Those who have the shortcomings to understand the heart mind may not feel the same way in understanding. They might find me to be somewhat of a nuisance. There will no longer be a world we live in. How do we then command our power over her? How do we then assert our natures onto the natures that she is being in consultation with? I have agreed to none of these statements, deceit, revenge, or disillusion. I am just simply who I am. This is my statement for tonight, for if I just said those words and taught us how to preach to ourselves these very words, I am the statement that I am, then you are in good hands. We are in the hands of our higher self. Don't you see that's what we're yearning for? When was it any other different? When was it different? When was it any other way? How come we can't relive the effects that it makes? For when we make these statements, I am who I am, then we have declared that we are the statement that we have declared ourselves to be, thus creating an infinite spiral. Connecting ourselves to the cosmos in the most profound and most divine, in the most divine capacity that is comprehensible to our spirits. The unfolding of our light is imminent. We're going to see things clear soon. You see, the veil is lifting as we have heard. But what exactly is that involving? Well, don't you see that it's the same effect by saying the veil is lifting that we are causing it? For that's how magical we are here. That's how magical we are. We are here for these reasons. We are here to build the spectrum, not just to live with it. Not just to understand science, but to complicate science with new meanings. For when we make the statements that I am this water purified, well, guess what we have done? We have purified the water that we are a part of. Aren't we 97% water? Why is it that then we go along and disillusion ourselves with fear and worry? For if we understood how much that tuned us down, then we would understand that this spectrum is unwanted now. So don't detune. Sure, it's easier said than done, for we are faced with many challenges on our daily life, more so than we have ever been. This is real work. This is the work of the gods. We are in partnership on many ways, and many wavelengths, and many levels. So don't be disillusioned that there is only one thing in mind for me, and that is my return to be in your heart and mind, for we are all returning with each other. I am not just here to beckon my own call. See, I'm called on, so therefore I am returning because of that. I don't suppose you understand this nature through our religions, for they have forced my words out of the big book. They have taken my way of life and shattered it when I was here on earth, and then condemned my words in the book. Thus respecting me through the many statues, and the fact that it was a virgin birth gives them the right then to dishonor my truth. I do not want things to happen in a harmful way to those religious goers. For me, I am in honorment for them. I am in equal respect for what they have declared to me. So it is not those who go to the churches that I am dishonorable with or disillusioned by, but it is about to be unfolding that some church goers, some church hierarchies might be in disdain that I am on the arrival. See, I might straighten things out, including what we have done with my son's words. Well, I can't help it, but this is just the way it's going to go. I never asked for this to happen. My son never asked for there to be churches made in his honor. So be it. It is a beautiful expression. Many of these churches have beautiful expressions throughout its walls and curbs and altars. It is an honorment in the highest way. For we do not distinct from understanding that this is true honorment. And it's an honest attempt to get closer to him. So for this reason, we will be in tune and partnership with many of those statements. But get to know the fact that there are hierarchies that have done dirty deeds. So they shall be understanding their own reckoning with their own voice. How their voice has affected the people, how they have dishonored the words of truth, will be their own words to be reckoned with. I will not be here to judge anybody. I'm not a living soul. Let it be known that there is world peace coming. Many of us are discouraged by this fact because how can that possibly happen? When we look at the world war that's going on and the tempting of this third one that will be, how could this possibly be the next statement? Who are we to say that this is peaceful? It's shameful almost to think that you would make this statement. How can we make such a statement when we watch it on TV? We see it everywhere. It's in the vampire culture. It's in to see it just by walking down the street. Forces of nature are a part of this too. We notice that there's whirlwinds that are tearing up houses and floods that are entering our communities. There will no longer be any of this soon, for this is the expression of the final countdown. See, from where I come from, we consider it done. Together, now, we can consider it done. For your picturization that this has already happened gives me the right to then make the changes. This is true alchemy. This is the cosmos in motion. Every time we have a thought, the cosmos are picking up on this. Magnets are moved. Space-time continuum is never the same once we have a profound thought. We yearn for this moment. We yearn for this day. Well, what about accepting it as real? What about saying thank you that it has already happened? Understanding when this happens, we are truly in the dynamics of the celebration. For having the gratitude is when we wait for the congratulations. Congratulations will come. In the meantime, picturing this is the way we manifest into this destiny. It is the dharma of the planet to evolve, not to descend. I know that this statement as it's being made is creating the very effect as we speak. The waves of the magnetic waves are sent outward from this vehicle, from this vortex, as we are making it here in this community circle. And it is reaching the highest stars. The cosmos are opening up right this very moment. And let me assure you something, there is no such thing as anything else but this very moment. The delusion of time itself is part of the chaos. For we keep forgetting that the now is the only thing prevalent. There is nothing more than sensation is what we think because of the computer screens and the feelings of sensuality on the TV commercials and how we feel we need to fit into the society we live in. So don't suspect the worst, you see. Don't suspect anything harmful to anyone who does these, call them dirty deeds, for this has also been done multiple times on society so that we do not recognize our higher self. But shall we go there and continue to blame and shame? We are in the same exact vortex as what they have been. It takes a saint nowadays to do a prayer, to say the right thing, to hold a door for somebody, to be there for the animals, for a concurring nightmare that a friend might have. So do the work anyway. Make it your effort to be the saints of Mother Mary. Go to the places where prayer is needed the most and bring your light. Do it silently. Say nothing. Suspect nothing wrong. When you notice something wrong, suspect nothing wrong. Enter it with a smile in your heart and watch how it transforms. Nothing can break that. Nothing can penetrate the heart when it's smiling. The absolute value of who we are as a citizen of this earth is about to be known. So get it going now, because when it's recognized, everyone's going to be tuned in. It's about commitment in the times when it matters the most, that identifies our value in the upcoming events. Take the time to realize that this shift is real. Be in the mood to transform. Make us hear you. Scream if you like at the top of your lungs. Tell me, Mother Mary, thank you for arriving again. Take the chance. It may be uncomfortable because of the settings we are in, but note this, that you are making it real. And now this is the world we live in. Preachers can preach. We can transform. Words are strong, but feeling from the heart is what matters. Let it be known we do not have to be on a podium with 50 million people to make a statement that can transform, for in the earth itself is embedded a connection. We are a part of, and not a part of, and not disconnected from, but we are a part of this expression. And partnership is how we identify our daily lives, how we identify ourselves cosmically, is in partnership with this great vehicle, this marvel in the cosmos. We've come here to learn about transformation. Not just to have our senses filled. We notice how we never really feel complete when we have those toys and those things we've always wanted. For it is not really that we are requesting. We are requesting to be identified as magical entropies. We are also, once we recognize that, in attunement with the planet and changing the planet as we are in attunement. Everything is happening all at once. This is how it works. Once you find that vortex, once you find that wormhole, it's never ending. You've just planted a seed. So do it again and again and again in different places, in different realities, on television. Constantly pray for those who need it. We're so used to the advancement of our lives to stick it to them. If someone does something to you, we must get them back. Revenge is not retribution. You see, revenge is just that. It's sadness. It encourages more and concurs more and more and more disease, disaster, and all of that. So why is there so much of it? Well, go figure. At the same time we want revenge, we can instead have attunement. I have a prayer coming to you through the silent waves of that I am who I am. You might hear me at night when you pray, when you meditate. For I am now more forceful into your auras now, that you've come to me and showed me how much it matters to you what Mother Mary is saying. My message to you is a part of your DNA. We are no longer going to have to be without one another. For when I return, you will recognize me well, for your DNA will be in tune because of the work you've done. For respecting my value of my mothership and my fundamentals of who I am as a messenger and a healer and a transformer. We allow you to speak to the divine in any way, shape you wish. See, without that, we would not be here in divinity. It is about choice and free will that makes this so magnificent and magnified. our magnitude with each other is a parallel world. Think of it as a guitar string that vibrates every time we communicate to one another. But when it's disaster, when it's harmful, just think of taking a keys on the piano, which has the vibratory strings, and just slamming it down. How good is that? What does that mean, I say? What can I do with this? I understand there's hurt, and there's disease, and there's problems, but what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to tune you up? See, when we work together, it's harmonic. It's a convergence. For I can enter your world through prayer. I can enter your world through harmonizing with my harmony. Together we make a beautiful song. There is no other way. For rationalizing what it is to be in fear, that's another subject altogether. For having fear is understandable. We had fear, my son and I, my family, every day, every hour, every moment. There couldn't be a waking moment without fearing what was happening to my family when I was here in Israel. There was no such thing as justice either. So some man could take a man and harm him. If it was in the righteousness of a crowd of people, it was so be it. So could you imagine what it was like for us? I'm calling on the powers of my son as we speak. See, he is understanding that we are here in a community collaborating. Not to control, not to consume, not to calamity, but to commit. And forces of nature are upon us from this very statement. The tragedy is those who fear without release, without an outlet, without a knowledge to know that they don't have to hold on to that. For they are vibrating with us, together with us. You can feel them as you walk by them on the street. You do not feel the same song as you're playing. You might then have to share and swap vibrations. Ole, ole. Oh well. This is what it is to walk as a saint. So be the strong one. Play your harmony forcefully and stronger. With more love, where there is sadness. See, we're vibrating together, so your notes will affect that note. When you hear a poorly made song, and then another one is played next to it, let's say by a beautiful song by like a band called Journey, who is always uplifting the public. The heart mind will follow towards that light. And vibrations will then start to be in tune to yours. The tunement of fine vibration is a lot more infinite than we give it understanding. For what we're seeing and touching and tasting may not follow in that way. For even the food we eat is a disaster. As meat is made, it is murder. It is involving fear. So is the fields that are plowed with many migrant workers that have not enough for their own pockets to feed their family. How ironic is that? So the fear is in our food. The fear is in everything we see on television. The fear is saturated our global economy. This is a disease. We are the doctors. Feel at liberty to be a saint. Do not have to walk proud for that, for this is just the meaning of life. It is not a ranking, it is just a way. We share our lives with others, whether we like it or not. We are one. We are one soul, collaborating for a project. Where are we going with this? Are we going to hang our project and be disgusted at what we have done? Or are we going to come together and make something that is worthwhile? I follow suit in everything that you command me to be. So command me. Be in the principalities of earth, wind, fire, water when you do it, for then we have strengthened our connection. Understanding that we are nothing more than this. For the wind is our breath. For the fire is the ignition of our nervous system. For the water is in our blood. For the earth is all the cells and the makeup of the substances of carbons that many of us are very aware of. For when we went to our science lab and we studied us, we can see these very chemical effects. So earth, wind, fire, water is nothing more than who we are. So commanding these principalities and requesting Mother Mary to enter into this portal, you shall see a whirlwind of difference in your life. Ask for prosperity. Ask me for anything. I am here to gain for you hope. I'm here for you to heal you. I'm here to bring you happiness and joy and love and peace and prosperity. Anything you could imagine. There is no limit. There is no cap on my free will with your free will. I do not deny anybody. I do not deny the saint, the martyr, or the criminal. This is where I'm going now. You see, I'm here to be understood. Not just as Mother Mary the gloriful, but those who come to kneel by the pews and say, "Oh Mary, I am here for